Hello, I'm Carla. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll have a chatty painting video how I paint leaves. I hope you enjoy. Here I'm using White Nights paint because I remember that I have nice greens on this painting palette. So I'm just going to swatch first the greens. Silly of me, I rearranged my color palette, so I couldn't figure out where the greens are. So I'm here just testing it out to see if it's green and not other color like black. So before I start out my painting, I'm swatching it first just to see and as a guide for me which greens I'm going to use. So the first one is yellowish green. And the next one is actually, I think this is green. I couldn't read it in my guide, but it's very dark green. So maybe it's forest green. And the last one, the third color, is always my yellow ochre. So the yellow ochre helps keep the colors very bright. So I mixed it with the yellowish green and put it in all the leaves that I'm going to paint. So here you can see I've made my line art. I'm also using an Arch 300 GSM cold press paper, but this one was cut off from the full sheet that I used. So it's very handy for just small commissions like this one. So I don't want to waste the Arch paper. So the scraps that I have cut off from a commission months ago, I'm using it now for this other commission. Here I'm mixing yellowish green with bits of yellow ochre and just painting each of the leaf. So I'm slowly painting the leaves till I get to everything. There are some leaves that I purposely left alone, so I'm going to paint them later on. They are mostly the leaf that are behind another leaf or beside another leaf. So the reason why I don't paint those is because the leaf that I just painted is still wet. So I wouldn't want them to bleed on each other. So I will just leave them there, wait for the leaf that I painted first to dry, and then you'll see me later go over them and perhaps use a different color. So the brush that I'm using here is a Van Gogh brush. I think this is around size 2. So I bought this in Fully Booked. It's actually a pretty nice brush. I bought it, it's a set of 3 brushes. So I like using this one for details. I think the brush hair is synthetic, but it's actually quite soft and pointy, and it's also it absorbs a lot of paint. So I like using this one for detailed work. So here you can see that I'm using the darker green to paint on the other leaves that I left alone a while ago. So the first layer of greens are already dry, so it's safe to paint over the other green. And I'm using a darker green in order for it to look very dynamic. Almost done with the leaves, so I painted everything, but I'm going to go over them and paint more detail to give more value to each of the leaf. So you can see how pointy this brush is, and it's so useful to paint on those little edges just to give the leaf a little bit more of 3D effect. So there you go. I'm painting more of the dark forest green on some of the leaf. I'm going to digitalize this leaf after painting, so I want the colors to be really bold and dark. That way I can easily adjust it in the computer. So I like painting the edge of the leaf a bit darker. So I'm making it pointy and dark, all the edges. There you go. That's the first coconut leaf. So I'm going to paint the next one. I'm trying to make it more yellow. So I'm adding more of the yellow ochre in the next leaf. Actually, I realized that the yellow ochre in the White Knight set is not as bright as the one that I'm used to using, which is the Holbein yellow ochre. But it will do. It's not really a bad thing. But even if I add a lot of yellow ochre, the yellowish green still overpowered it. So it's not as bright as the Holbein, which I use in my usual color palette. Okay, so you can see that I'm still painting the second leaf. So this leaf is a bit more yellow than the first leaf that I did. So I'm trying to make it more vibrant so that when I digitalize it or do a pattern, it's going to look different from the first leaf that I did. But looking at it now on screen, it's not as bright as I would like. Again, it's because I think the yellow ochre is not as vibrant, or the yellow ochre of White Knights is not as vibrant as the Holbein. That's fine. So here I am again using the dark green to paint on the other leaves, mostly the leaves that are below the other yellowish green leaves. So I have about 4 leaves here, and then I grew 2 coconuts, one unopened, one opened, and I'm going to put that and arrange it to be stationary. So this entire painting of the leaf actually took about an hour and a half maybe, and not yet including the time that I spent on cleaning it up, laying it out, and trying to fix some things here and there. So it really takes a while for me to do something like this. And also the filming bit makes me a bit slower because I'm very conscious about it. But hopefully you enjoy this video and get a glimpse of how I paint leaves and also how I do my patterns. Here I'm almost done, just adding the little details that I'm still just trying to make each of the leaves look alive and make sure that you can tell each leaf from one another. Here is the final painting. I hope you enjoy this chatty painting video. See you! Bye!